with me from Velvet Chains. Velvet Chains is a Las Vegas-based band. They released their debut album, Icarus, on September 24th, and it's available everywhere now. Icarus, it's something, man. It's got to be exciting. Get that out there.
Yeah, I know it's been a blast, and it was about a year or so in the making, and just being our debut album and being our first album out there, it was just extra special, you know? So
Yeah.
no, we're stoked. We're having fun with it, and we're super happy with how people have received it.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's very cool. I listen to it and I get it form my own opinions, and it'll, just like everybody else will. How would you describe the sound of Velvet Chains?
Look, a lot of people have said we sound a lot like, if we're doing comparisons, we sound a lot like Velvet Revolver and Stone Temple Pilots. We're like the middle, like the meeting point between both of those. One being a little bit more grungy, the other one being a little bit more heavy or hard rock. And we're like right in the mix of those. But it's in our record, if you check it out, we definitely have a ton of different influences, and all the songs are slightly different. You could pick up a little bit of punk in some of them. You could pick up grunge. You could grab some radio rock, stadium rock. So it's a mix of things. But yeah, I think that's probably the best way to put it. We're like the meeting point between Velvet Revolver and STP.
Yeah. Okay. You're happy with that?
I love it, man. Those two are some of my biggest influences. So it was somewhat by design, you know, and at the end of the day, we're doing music that we love, and we're having fun. And I guess that's the most important thing, right?
Definitely, man. And you're not sacrificing anything. You're doing what you love to do. And that's really what it's all about, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
The writing process for you guys, is there one particular writing team, one particular person that comes in with the bulk, or is it a whole collaborative effort? How's it work?
It's definitely a collaborative effort, but it all starts from us being at home, maybe on the couch, me personally drinking a bottle of whiskey or something, and I'm there and I start just putting ideas on paper, and then I'll add the music later on. And then I believe Noel is the same way, our drummer. And then you have Jerry and Lohan. They're slightly different. They first come up with melodies and riffs, and then they start adding lyrics to things. But we all do get together after that initial first draft, or whatever you want to call it. And we've been meeting up with Drew Lawrence out of LA. And Drew Lawrence is a very, very successful, accomplished songwriter. Mm-hmm. And we meet up at his house, and we'll do a couple full day sessions. We'll have some music. We'll do a lot of very, very rough basic demos using a MIDI keyboard and Logic on the computer. And we'll put up some super basic demos that then we'll go around and we'll start adding our instruments and changing melodies and changing the music around and so on. But he helps us give structure to the process. So it's definitely a team effort, but at the same time, we're very well advised by professionals around it too. So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Now, getting together, that had to be a little bit difficult, recording the album with COVID and everything else. Was that a hurdle for you guys? Did you have to do Zoom calls and things like that?
Yeah, the part of the reason that we became an original band, and without this, we would have probably become one anyway, as we were already throwing ideas out there for songs. But we found ourselves stuck during COVID at home. We couldn't rehearse, we couldn't play, obviously, bars, clubs, casinos, whatever. And we just said, hey, what do we do with our time? Do we just sit here and stare at the wall, or do we just sit here and maybe try to write something? And that's how it started. But after a little bit, things started opening back up in Las Vegas. So we were able to get into the studio, and we worked in 3 different studios, actually. And, we did the social distancing thing. And the first few times we met at the studio, we're all wearing masks, and slowly as things started to ease up, we also accommodated. But no, it was fun. And we worked here at the Hideout in Vegas. We also worked at the Tone Factory. And then we flew up to Seattle, and we did part of it in the Kill Room up in West Seattle. So yeah, it was definitely, COVID was very present. COVID was perhaps the reason that it shut us off quicker than we probably would have done the original thing. But it worked out, it worked out.
Yeah, that's great. And it wasn't easy for a lot of bands to get something to work out. It was a difficult process, the whole COVID separation.
No, and to add to that, like I think that all the other bands that I know here in Vegas, or I've been part of many other bands in the past, I'd say 90% of them don't exist anymore because they didn't survive COVID. And then once things opened up again, they went their own ways, or people moved out of town, or whatever. But we got lucky. We put a lot of work in there, and we kind of had a vision. So ended up working out.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what it is. It's a lot of work. You know, you really got to work towards what you want to do. You know, it's a common goal for sure. Tell me about the collaborations on this record. You got some really big collaborations. Richard Fortus, of course, one of the longest running members of Guns N' Roses. Mike Squires, from Duff McKagan's band. So there's a Guns N' Roses connection here, and I know you guys huge Guns N' Roses fans. So yeah, tell me about how that all came about.
Yeah, so personally, I think for most of us in the band, if not all, Guns N' Roses is probably our favorite band. Definitely for me, my biggest influence. And it was great. We wanted to come out with a bang and be like, look, we're in the middle of this COVID thing. Let's take advantage of whatever we can. There's musicians that are available that probably will be more willing to work with others because they're not on tour, they're not busy recording, right? So we kind of went out and said, let's take advantage of this and see who we can get to. And in that process, we ended up working with, amazing guitar virtuoso Richard Fortus. Super appreciative and thankful of him. Great guy, super nice guy. Just sent in his parts, and man, they were mind blowing. It's funny because Richard's such a humble guy. He's like, hey guys, here's my parts. Let me know if you need any changes. Unlimited amount of revisions, whatever you need, guys. Don't worry about it. And we're like, okay, we'll check it out. Maybe we'll, have Richard change a couple things. And then we listened to it the first time, and we're like, holy crap, there's nothing that needs to be changed here. So no, next level stuff. And it was very similar with Mike Squires, huge talented guitar player, and Jeff Rouse, also the other guy at the other string section at Duff McKagan's Loaded, bass player, right? And both of them are friends of the band, and they collabed generously. And same thing, they sent in their parts, like any revisions you guys have, and we're like, man, this stuff is great. So it was awesome to work with these guys, and just super thankful for them. On top of that, we also did a music video with Dean Karr, who's very well known in the industry for working with some big names. And we had a photo shoot by Kat Benzova. She's a tour photographer for Aerosmith and Guns N' Roses. So, we kind of, I don't know if we got lucky. I don't know if it was the right time, right place, but I'm sure they also liked what we were doing. And they said, hey, these people look like decent human beings. And they collabed, but man, it was a blast for sure.
Yeah, that's just awesome. I mean, those are just incredible people in the industry. Dean Karr, wow. It's just mind-blowing what that guy does. I want to talk a little bit about him and the videos too, but I see the copyright on the music is FYPM Music. Explain that to me. Is that your own label, and what is the FYPM?
So I'm not sure if I can say bad words on here, so I'll ask first, but let's keep it PG-13 if I must. But FYPM Music is my own music label, and I've been putting a lot of resources towards this band. FYPM stands for FY and then pay me, right?
Okay.
So that's other stuff that I have also, I use that FYPM and blah blah blah. But the whole idea of this thing of Velvet Chains is a little bit like the Dead Daisies. Are you familiar with those guys?
Oh yeah, just saw them here in Chicago.
Nice, they're nice. Yeah, great band, man. Great band. I love what David Lowy out of Australia, right? That's the founder, what he's done. And he, goes around and picks these amazing musicians, and they're together for a couple of years. And then he's like, okay, let's reinvent the wheel and let's try another sound musician. So that's a little bit of what I'm doing. I've had a somewhat successful business background, and that's allowed me to do this. And look, I don't own a jet plane like David, but but the whole point is to just put music out, work with amazing musicians, and work ourselves to the top, and that's what we're out there doing.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah, and doing it fast. Debut, and it's looking great, man.
Thank you.
Now you have various ethnicities in this band. You have 2 Americans, and you have a Brazilian with Lohan, and yourself being from Chile. Do you feel that that adds something to the band, bringing those possibly those sounds of that culture, that different culture together?
Yeah, man, that's a good observation. I'd say that the mix of different cultures and the fact that we're all such different people makes it really fun, in the sense that nobody's really predictable. You don't really know what they're thinking. Sometimes there's a little bit of an accent coming out here and there, or you know, we all learn new things about each other all the time. So that kind of adds diversity, adds to the equation and the success that we've had in such short little time. But when it comes to like influences, I'd love to be like, man, yeah, Lohan has these Brazilian Afro beats, whatever. And I have not, and honestly, his biggest influence is Kiss. He loves Bon Jovi. He loves Guns N' Roses. For me, it's kind of similar, you know, mostly late 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. But so I wouldn't necessarily say that I have a lot of influences of Latin music, but just the backgrounds and the differences, and it works out real well, man. And we're all really good friends. It just works out real good.
Yeah, that's awesome, and I would think it would. You know, I love having the different ethnicities and cultures, and it's just, you know, it usually does add to the communication, the chemistry of the band, as well as the music. I think a lot of times. Talk to me about the video for Tattooed. You got Dean Karr. Now, you know, I mean, probably most famous for Marilyn Manson stuff. You know, that really, it's a little dark, and, you know, and that's how Tattooed is. Are videos something you like doing? And, you know, how did all that happen with Dean Karr?
Yeah, man, that video thing was a blast. Just spending, you know, we spent from early in the morning to very late at night in the set doing that music video. It was such an amazing experience. Dean is also, everything you see in that Marilyn Manson video, you'll probably see at Dean's house. Like, he keeps a lot of the props, and it's like a little, it's like a castle. It's like a small castle that he lives in, and man, there's I don't know, like dead animals in jars, whatever that's called. Like, yeah, and like pig heads and like everything very tastefully decorated. Don't get me wrong, he's not a weirdo, right? But he's such an interesting character, man. So everything that you saw on those music videos he's done is pretty much a good reflection of what's in his head, you know. But it's cool. Yeah. The guy's legit. And he met with us. We went to his house. We spoke for a while, and he kind of liked what we're doing, and we showed him a few of the songs, and he dug them. And he's like, you know what about Tattooed? We're like, man, if that's the one that you like, let's try that. And especially having the collab from Richard Fortus and everything. Again, we just wanted to come out with a bang. So he says, so what do you guys want to do for the theme of the video? And we're like, dude, I mean, you're Dean Karr, man. Let's see what you come up with. And we're cool with that, regardless of whatever it is. And it ended up being this crazy torture thing where this deranged fan kidnaps our drummer and tortures her and does all this crazy stuff to her. And the version that we put out, that's like the 6th edit or like 7th edit, because that original one, man, we didn't know we should release that thing on Pornhub or somewhere else. It was quite intense, man. But it was such a blast, and everything was so professional, and there was like 40 people on set and multiple cameras and the editing section and food and everything. It was no different than being on a Hollywood movie. And it was just the professionalism. Like, you see Dean Karr being Dean Karr at home, and you're like, man, this guy's a little out there. He's a lot of fun, but he's a little out there. And then you see Dean Karr on the day that you're doing your shoot, and the dude's the most professional filmmaker I've ever met. So no, the level of professionalism was fantastic, man.
Yeah, and I was gonna say that's a major like motion picture production. I mean, it's just beautiful. And that is Noelle in the video.
Yeah, she's getting tortured and cut up, and
she would have she had to have a bunch of fun doing that, no?
yeah, we put it that way. Yeah, she was a little shell shocked at the end, but no, she loved the experience, and she's happy to do it and everything. But you know what? It's like, it's almost good and bad at the same time. It's like a blessing and a curse to have put out such a good music video, because then we started thinking, hey, maybe we should do a music video for Strangelove or for Past the Deceased, blah, blah, blah. And we ended up going with a lyric video for Past the Deceased and a live video for Strangelove, because to do another one at the level of the Dean Karr, we needed months in advance to start working on this thing. So we didn't have time to release this, but now we know that, hey, for the next record, when we put something out, boy, it's got to be at that level or better, and that doesn't come easy. So
No.
yeah.
No, and it doesn't come cheap, I'm sure. So
Yeah, no, it definitely was a little bit of an investment for sure.
yeah, and I gotta tell you, it looks well worth it. It's a beautiful, beautiful video. It's really well done.
Thank you. Yeah.
Now the artwork too, on the single for Strangelove and the album, it looks like the same artist, and it's really, really vibrant, really cool art. Are you guys in control of that as well?
Yeah, totally. So we found an artist out of Finland, and she sent us some examples of the stuff she's done, and where she hasn't particularly done stuff in music, but we really liked her art. And we said, hey, how about doing some single covers, album cover, and so on. And she started sending us stuff, and we're like, look, let's keep it on the gory side, but not too extreme. Let's keep it drawings, but not cartoons, kind of somewhere in the middle, right? And she gave us that, and that it was fantastic. We're super pleased with it. And also a comparison people make are like, hey, this looks very Iron Maiden-ish, right? With the covers. And we're like, you know what? That was a total coincidence, not by design, but I'll take the comparison to Iron Maiden any day. You know, why not?
No doubt. No doubt. You know, that is iconic art right there. No doubt. So yeah, I mean, it you know, like the Maiden stuff, it didn't remind me of that at all. And I'm a huge, gigantic Maiden fan, but it does look like the same artist, much like the Maiden stuff, where, you know, you had that Derek Riggs artwork and it was just so iconic, and you knew it was him. Hers has that same feel. I see it, and it all looks like it's a unit. It is the same artist, you can tell, which is really, really great, you know.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
I'm working on getting that album cover. It's probably going to be my next tattoo back here somewhere. So I'm working on that. But,
yeah, that would be cool. That would be great. Yeah. Before you started recording the album, was there anything specific that you were looking to achieve? Did you say, you know, we want to make this a guitar heavy album, or we want to make this, you know, where the vocals are really the key to the whole thing? Or, you know, was there anything in particular that you wanted to achieve with the album?
That's a great question. I think that for us as a band, we are, for good or for worse, we are people pleasers, in the sense that we want to play music that people will enjoy, and we don't want to really play something super obscure that may be super technical, like some mathcore crazy thing, just because we may actually like it. But we kind of found a middle ground where we wrote songs that are kind of sticky, have good hooks and so on, or at least we seem to think so. But at the same time, we wanted it to be honest music that we also really loved. And if you look at the lyrics in all of the songs, or most of the songs, if not all, they're a good reflection of everything that was going through COVID. They're a little dark, they're a little anxious, a little out there, in the sense you sense the worry and the concerns and the future, blah, blah, blah. But definitely wanted it to be an honest album. Definitely wanted to be a portrayal of our influences, but at the same time, something that people liked. And that's why we have so many different tunes in there with a little bit of different genres, if you may as well say. But it's a really faithful reflection of who we are as a band and our individual influences and tastes.
Yeah, and it is. It's something for everybody, without straying too far off the path. You know, you guys you do what you do. Definitely. What was the biggest challenge with making this record? You know, it's a debut record. Even, you know, if you've been doing it a while, you know, that first record for a project is always kind of a learning process for everybody, even people in the industry for a long time. So what, you know, is there anything with this particular record that was a challenge for you guys?
Yeah, I think on the production side, we had a few challenges, because we kind of started this thing and we were going to work with a guy, and then we chose not to, and so on. We had a couple of disagreements, and ended up working with a recording engineer who did a fantastic job recording us. And some of these guys here in Vegas also helped us, but we kind of officially lacked a producer. And I've heard, and I also feel that part of the songs, or a couple of the songs, or part of the record may be underproduced. So, you know, when we look at our own stuff, we're like, we just want it to be the best. So maybe somebody's listening to me and they're like, what do you mean it's underproduced? It's fucking great, right? But perhaps it's, in my opinion, being a perfectionist, there's parts that could have been produced a little bit better. So our goal for the next record is definitely to find a producer. It doesn't have to be some super famous name or anything, just somebody that kind of digs what we do and has a proven track record and could produce for us. So that was a little bit of the challenge, I'd say, in the record. Everything else seemed to move really swiftly and smoothly.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you would do something differently going into the next record, and that would be the production.
Yeah, definitely. And also recording demos. We spent a lot of time at the local studios here re-recording the demos that we have done with Drew with a keyboard and so on, but now with our instruments. And I just built a home studio at my house. So now we're probably going to do all that at home. I went all out. It's a pretty cool studio. So yeah, we do that differently. But other than that, I think everything kind of worked out.
Yeah, it definitely did. And definitely it's going to be great to have a studio in the house now. You know, what a difference, because you recorded in a few different studios.
Yeah. And we'll probably end up doing the final tracks, you know, the full, not demo versions, right? The masters at an actual pro studio just in case, because they have more toys that you could plug into and, you know, different setups and so on. But for demos or for rough demos or whatever, we can do them here. So that'll be fun. I'm excited to start working with that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really exciting, man. You know, I'd love to see you here in Chicago. Is there a possible tour? Are you going to tour on the album?
Yeah, we're working with our booking agent out of Cali, and his mission is, hey, find us as many festivals as you can around the US. We'll fly out there and come back and have a blast and play them. And let's talk about a tour potentially for next year too. So we'd love to play Chicago. I've never personally been. I'd love to go. And yeah, man, they're very likely for 2022 that if there's something out there, we'll definitely go play it.
Ah, man, that sounds great, man. Yeah, I can't wait to see you here in Chicago. You're gonna love it here, man. It's been home to me for many years, so I love the city here, and I think you will too, for sure. Where can everybody get this record? Icarus out there now. You got merch, website?
Yeah, we got a website. It's velvetchainsband.com, and we're on Instagram at velvetchainsband. And then, you know, Facebook and TikTok, pretty much the same thing. But if you want to listen to the record, it's on every platform out there. So Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, Amazon, I don't know, they're on all of them. And check out our Vivo channel or our own channel on YouTube, where we have the music video and the lyric video and the live video and so on. So there's ways to check us out, and then leave comments. We love comments. Most people don't like comments, but we love them. I don't care if they're good, bad, horrible, amazing. We love to read them and see what people think. So yeah.
And I would definitely go all those places, and definitely make sure to see that video, because if you do, you will comment on it. You know, it's no doubt about it. So yeah, Nils, thank you so much, man. This has been great. I can't wait to see you here in Chicago when you get on the road soon, somewhere down the road. It's been great, man. Let's do it again.
Scott, I can't thank you enough for having me, man. It's been a pleasure. Love talking to you. Yeah, and we'd love to see you soon. And anytime you want us on, man, I'm here.
Fantastic, man. Thanks, Nils.
Thanks a lot, dude. We'll see you.
Take care, bro.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.